Okay, today I want to talk about something that kind of sucks in talking about, but I've had lots of experiences, and looking back at it, I can now, you know, have a strong idea as to why, she pulled away. So this topic of the video really is to talk to you about why is she actually pulling away when you've done pretty much everything right. You've been into game for a while. You've had lots of dates, past relationships and all of that. Maybe you're in your late 20s, 30s. So you're starting to gain momentum in your dating life. It's not perfect, but when a girl is really interested in you, you have this really high quality one-on-one time with her. Connecting is like an easy part for you. But as the weeks go by, you still your old self. You're being real, but eventually, boom! It's like she pulls away, and maybe that happened to you for the past, couple, maybe the last 3 girls that you've met. That you never get that sort of closure anymore. It's almost like this, she slowly fades away, and since you're a man and you've been around. You're not like most typical guys. You're not gonna chase back and try to get an explanation. Hey, what's wrong? What's going on? No, you're not gonna do that. You're just gonna, let the ball in her court, and But what happens is that she doesn't reach out at all. She doesn't reconnect with you at all, and that's pretty much the end of it. So you're scratching your head, wondering, the hell's going on? What happened? And dude, these. As much as they can be short, those, they tend to really sting. They sting for a few weeks, right? Maybe months. Like, they really sting for a long time. Like, I've had longer relationships in the past, but it didn't sting as much as, like, let's say a 3-week fling with a girl that you really liked, and you did, textbook game, so to speak. So let's get into it. So first, I want to say that in my 20s, I was a bit more, I guess not needy, but I was more seeking someone to almost fill like a void. Like I didn't feel like my life was that fulfilling, and having someone to spend time with, in a way made my life better. And it's almost like when I was leading my day-to-day life. Getting her text, getting her, her approval, quote unquote, or I would sort of live for that, and my life's mission, which was not clear at that time, kind of took a step back, and I was kind of like just focused on that girl. And looking back now, I know why certain relationships didn't last long, right? Because in the beginning, it's hot and heavy, right? Can create an amazing connection, and when you're good with push and pull and flirting and all of that, it's quite smooth when you attract her, right? In the first few meetups. I would say, like, on average, by the second date, I would get intimate with the girl, sometimes even on the first date. It all depends, right? But when the flame is so hot, like it can burn really quickly. It's because you've been so close so fast that sometimes it creates this illusion that there's no longer any mystery, and like the book, that romance novel is done because you've almost given everything. So. But just to say that now, since I'm in my 30s, I'm 30 now, I would say now that I don't need a woman to get validation, to have a great life. I'm comfortably, I'm living well, and I'm sort of, I feel at peace with myself, even in the freaking military shack right now. But yeah, we're working towards building a better life. My mission is to move abroad, going back to Asia, and help men like you, as far as the dating, fitness, charisma, And this what this channel is about, really. So I know the topic of the video is why she pulled away, even though he did everything right. So let me dive in right now. Sometimes you did everything right, man. It's just not, it's not on you at all. Like, you have to understand this. Sometimes you're gonna meet an amazing woman, but it turns out sometimes that you're just not compatible. Believe this. Believe me when I say this. Women can hide who they are for at least 90 days. 90 days. Think about it. That's 3 months. So everything that happens before that, I mean, take it with a grain of salt, really. Because, I was dating that girl. It was going super well. I mean, the first date, we hit it off, man. We ended up spending... We went to... I was traveling. We went to dinner. And then, we sort of walked around a park, I think. And then we went to see a certain tower where couples go usually. And we went to a photo booth. Then we took the bus. We went to my part of the neighborhood. And we had dinner. It's lunch and dinner. So it was a long day, and we really bonded over that dinner. We some deep talk, not like the serious deep talk, but just gazing at each other and enjoying the moment. And at the end of the night, obviously, I went for the kiss. And she texted me when she got home. The next day after, and from then on, we sort of started seeing each other frequently. Keep in mind, it was a vacation, so flings like that, the flame can be very hot, right? It can happen so quickly, and for them it's kind of like a cool love story, because it's like, oh, this just happened. Like, I met this guy at the mall, and he talked to me, and then it's kind of like this love story, or this foreigner, right, and all of that. But that applies to even back home, right, as far as why she pulls away. And the main reason is, dude, she might be an avoidant. So, what is an avoidant? Well, quite simply put, let's put it this way, okay? First of all, these women can be so adorable. Like, they're very feminine, very submissive. They have an interesting sense of humor, right? They're usually they have a creative side, like an artisty, side of themselves. And, what they seek, obviously, is the polarity of that. It's the opposite of that, a masculine men, right? Because they're usually very feminine, right? They're like sort of this innocent type of attitude, this look. But the thing that attracted her in the first place, being that masculine man, can also be the thing that makes her pull away and, just be gone. And basically the reason for that is fear of abandonment. Fear of being abandoned, right? And, that could come from a multitude of reasons. And you're never going to fully know why, she pulled away. I can think of one reason. It could be that she had, let's say now she's in her mid-20s. You don't know, man, what happened from age fucking 18 to that point, right? Maybe she had many boyfriends. Maybe she had one in the beginning that was very masculine, but also kind of an asshole, very toxic, very abusive, manipulative, right? And he could be the guy that got away, if you know what I mean. So he's the guy that got away. It's, it sucks, but it's always gonna be on the back of her mind somehow. She's the guy that got away, and she sort of paints this story that this was the guy, and that since it was maybe the first few relationship of hers, she kind of paints this picture of this was the normal version of a relationship. Especially on top of that, if she grew up with, if their parents had a dynamic that it was kind of like that. And let's be honest, in today's age, more and more couples, parents, it's just getting fucked up, right? So many fucked up children, and it creates this generation of fucked uppery, right? It's fucking crazy, right? So, we're missing lots of, father figures out there, if she grew up without a father. I mean, she literally got abandoned by her father. So imagine, what that does. So yeah, that abusive guy or whatever, toxic guy, has become the new normal. So if she meets someone like you, which, you sort of have the same qualities, you're a masculine guy, driven, you know what you want, you have this stoicism about you, right? If you have charisma, use your voice, you have a calming confidence in you. And you'll know, because usually girls will say that, oh man, your voice is so calming, you calm me down and all that. If you get these compliments, it is a very good sign, guys, that you're very present, charismatic, and you enjoy being with yourself, and she can really sense that. So it sucks because you like that girl a lot, and yeah, I mean, you were that masculine man, but when stuff starts getting real, that's when you start seeing her pull away, right? And God forbid, man, you spend time with her, you start liking her, maybe you get a tiny bit little needy, maybe not at all, guys, but for her, that's for her. She's really sensing that this is getting real. She's starting to fall for you a little bit. And, next thing you know, she takes way longer to reply to your text, right? Or she doesn't initiate contact now. And then, you start doing it. You start initiating. And it's almost like everything's normal, And don't ask, if she's okay or what's going on and all that. Just assume, man, if you don't hear from her for a week, and usually you hear from her after a couple of days or even a day, or she texts you every day, just assume she was busy, and try to make the next plans, if you don't hear from her for a week. And that could work in and of itself. She could come back to your frame, and things are slowly back to normal. But what I want you to keep in mind is that unless she's ready to deal with this issue, and most girls, truthfully, they don't even recognize that in themselves, that that flaw that they have where they pull away every time it gets real with someone. And sadly, they pull away and they sort of meet the next guy, and they kind of continue on this cycle, right? So just keep that in mind. You want to be the guy that you always have to warm her up again every time she pulls away because of her past traumas. That can be very demanding on you. That can be very taxing. It's playing with your emotions. I mean, yeah, do you have the energy to do that? I mean, you're a busy man. You got lots of stuff to do. Got your business to build. You got some networking to do. You want to travel the world. You want to create partnerships, grow your relationships. With your guy friends. Grow together. And there's so many aspects, in your life that you want to improve on. So do you really want to waste energy on a girl that is always hot and cold with you because of her trauma? I mean, that's something you want to ask yourself. If you're willing to put up with that. So, yeah, that's really one of the main things about avoidant women, and how to spot them. It's really just about spending time with them. I mean, first of all, she's not gonna bluntly say, hey, I'm an avoidant, so watch out. No, dude. You just gotta date her, and just really keep, for whoever it is, right? Always keep in the back of your mind that there's this 90-day clause, right? And every time you're dating someone new, think to yourself, let's just see how this goes, right? I'm not in a rush, just trying to see if you're cool or not. If you want to stick around, totally cool. But if I sense that you start to pull away, if things like that, I'm just gonna step back as well, mirror that, and just go about my life, because I'm cool with myself either way. And just don't get too attached. Don't set expectations that, oh, this could be my new girlfriend. No, just enjoy the courtship, enjoy dating. And if you're the kind of guy that you want to date multiple women at the same time, just have this abundance mindset, you can do that too. But if you're busy and you don't have really much time to date 3 to 5 women at the same time, because let's be honest, it's almost like another full-time job, well, that's up to you too. If you want to date one girl at a time, that's totally cool. That's kind of like what I like doing, because I like to spend my energy, focus my energy on someone, and have other stuff to think about. Life ain't all just about getting girls. That's the whole side of the dating pickup community that I don't like. It's just like, it's almost like getting girls is their life's priority. I mean, there's so much more in life, to do. So yeah, don't set any expectations. Hang out, have fun, hook up, and just see where it goes. And yes, never reach out and try to get an explanation out of her, or, oh, I thought we had something great, why you seem upset and what's going on. Don't do that. 99, but probably 8 out of 10 guys that is dealing with something like this will do that. They will reach out. So by you not doing that, you're really standing out. And she's going to feel that. And whether you want to believe it or not, she's going to respect you for that. And that in and of itself can be enough for her to reach back out and connect with you again. And that can also make her realize the trauma she's been having. Like, oh man, I really miss Francis. And then her thoughts are going to start running, and maybe she'll realize that, she's been doing that subconsciously and didn't even know why. But eventually it'll pop up. Her trauma going to pop up, and she's going to start making connections as to why she's always pulling back when she meets a very cool guy. And these girls usually, they end up with men that they don't even love. It's like men that they can sort of control, men that they're not scared of losing in a way, because it makes them feel comfortable with their traumas. So yeah, I don't want to go on too much, but that's pretty much in a nutshell, that, because I see a lot of guys are beating themselves up because they always think it's their fault when a girl's pulling away, but it's not, man. I mean, there's so many girls right now that are just not secure in themselves. They're super insecure, and they don't even know what they want out of life, and they play with your emotions. They're not even ready for a relationship, and you're there scratching your head wondering what the fuck. I mean, don't put too much energy on any girl, because you don't know their background, you don't know what they went through, and I know it sounds cliche, but it's not always about you. Usually it really is about her, and whether she wanted to take that step with you or not, it's not up to you to decide, right? That's up to her to face her demons, do the inner work, and then when she's ready to meet a man like you, she's gonna reach out, and then it's up to you to decide. But I think you know the answer. You're a strong man. You know what you want. And do you really want to deal with a woman that, you know, deep down you know she's always on the fence because of her trauma? Well, that's up to you. So, yeah, don't beat yourself up, guys. Just keep on rolling. Keep rolling with the punches. I know it sucks in the moment because she was an amazing girl, but things are not always meant to be. You know, not every chapters are meant to be continued, you know. Some of them are just, you know, she's a girl that's going to teach you a lesson in life, and you just got to take that in and then move on. And then, you know, you've grown from that. You know, always leave a girl in a better position that you found her, right? Despite her pulling away and all that, I'm sure she really valued her time with you, right? You gave her an experience that probably she's never had before. You know, if you're going to keep watching my content, you know, there's so much value into, you know, all this decade that I've learned from dating different girls. And, you know, I hope you stick around because it's going to be really interesting building a community right now. It's called the C.U.T Brotherhood on School. So I'm slowly adding content to it. So when it's ready, guys, I will let you know. So stay up to that. You can connect with me on my socials. But yeah, share this with a guy, you know, you think would need to hear this, you know. It's like, hey man, I know you've been beating yourself up over that girl. Look, it's not always meant to be, man. It's not always just about you or what you've done, or, you know, you were needy in that part, you know, you were very needy in that one. No. Just, you know who you are, keep on moving forward, and just be the man that you want to be. Alright? Take care, man.